How Humanity's War Proved. There the galaxy's ultimate apex predator, Captain Daeho Kim, stood at the observation deck of the Earth space station Harmony, watching the massive alien vessel approach. It was the 4th day since humanity's first contact with the United Galactic Council, and so far everything had gone well. The 7-foot-tall, blue-skinned Tamir representatives had been polite, if a bit cold. "Captain, the Tamir delegation is departing," said Lieutenant Jin Park through the comm. "But we're detecting new ships entering the system." Daeho frowned. "Identification?" "Unknown, sir. Different design from the Tamir vessels. They're heading toward Mars colony." Within hours, the peaceful first contact turned into confusion. The new aliens, calling themselves Voraxians, demanded immediate meetings with Earth's leaders. Unlike the diplomatic Tamir, these creatures had hard exoskeletons and multiple eyes that darted around constantly. Humans must prove they are not a threat, the Voraxian ambassador stated flatly during the hastily arranged meeting. His name was impossible to pronounce, so the human delegation called him Ambassador Green due to his greenish armor. "We've shown nothing but peaceful intentions," argued Dr. Sun Han, Earth's chief diplomat. She had spent her life preparing for first contact, but nothing had prepared her for the Voraxians' aggressive stance. "Your species hunts for sport," Green chittered, multiple limbs gesturing at images the aliens had somehow obtained of human history. "You kill when not hungry. You wage war among yourselves. The council must assess if you are safe." Daeho watched from the side of the room, noticing how the Voraxians always positioned themselves near exits. Their movements reminded him of prey, animals always ready to flee. The meeting ended with an uneasy agreement. Earth would allow Voraxian inspectors to visit key military installations to prove humanity's peaceful intentions. President Lee reluctantly agreed, hoping to avoid any misunderstandings. 3 days later, everything fell apart. "They're scanning our research station with military-grade sensors," Lieutenant Jin reported from the bridge of the ESS Pathfinder, a small research vessel monitoring the Voraxian inspection ship near Mars. Daeho, now commanding the Pathfinder, opened a communication channel. "Voraxian vessel, your scans are interfering with sensitive equipment. Please adjust your sensors." No response came. "Sir, they're targeting our engines." Jin's voice rose with alarm. "Raise shields," Daeho ordered, though he knew their defensive capabilities were minimal on a research vessel. The first blast hit before the shields were fully powered. The Pathfinder shuddered as emergency alarms blared throughout the ship. "Return fire," Daeho commanded, breaking protocol. This was no accident, it was an attack. The Pathfinder's small defensive lasers barely scratched the Voraxian ship, but it was enough to make them back off temporarily. "Send emergency transmission to Earth Command," Daeho said as he helped an injured crew member. "We've been attacked without provocation." On Earth, the response was swift. The Voraxian inspectors were detained and military forces went on high alert. President Lee demanded answers from the Galactic Council, but communication channels suddenly went silent. Within hours, 50 more Voraxian ships entered the solar system, bypassing the early warning systems near Neptune. They headed straight for Mars. "They knew exactly where to hit us," General Myung Choi told the Emergency Council. "This wasn't a misunderstanding. They were gathering intelligence during the inspections." The first battle for Mars lasted just 6 hours. The human defense fleet fought valiantly, but was overwhelmed by superior Voraxian technology. When the dust settled, the Red Planet's largest colony was gone, destroyed by weapons humanity had never seen before. In the council chambers, light years away, Ambassador Sun pleaded for intervention. "The Voraxians attacked without provocation. This violates your own laws." The council representatives shifted uncomfortably. Only the Tamir delegate spoke up. "The Voraxians have presented evidence that humans fired first." "Doctored evidence," Sun shouted, losing her diplomatic composure. The Voraxian representative rose to his full height. "The council has classified humanity as a predator species, dangerous and unpredictable. For the safety of all civilized worlds, humans must be contained." As Sun watched in horror, the council voted to sanction the Voraxian peacekeeping action against Earth. Back on the ruined bridge of the Pathfinder, Deho helped the remaining crew into escape pods. As his pod launched toward Earth, he watched. More Varaxian ships arrived through some kind of space-folding technology. "This isn't a misunderstanding anymore," he told Jin as they drifted away from the battle. "It's war." Neither of them could know that this war would reveal humanity's true place in the galactic order, as the apex predator no one had expected. How humanity's war proved. They're the galaxy's ultimate apex predator. 6 months had passed since the Undu first attack on Mars. The human death toll stood at 12 million. Every major colony beyond Earth's orbit had fallen to the Varaxians. The aliens had expected humanity to surrender within weeks. They were wrong. General Mi Young Choi walked through the underground command center beneath the ruins of Seoul. The city above had been hit 3 times by Varaxian strikes, but the bunkers held. Around her, hundreds of officers and scientists worked at stations coordinating Earth's defense. "Status report," she demanded, approaching the central holographic display where Colonel Han worked. "We lost the Saturn outpost yesterday," Colonel Jun Han replied, his face tired but determined. "But not before they completed their mission." Mi Young allowed herself a small smile. "They got the data?" Jun nodded. "Complete scans of Varaxian shield frequencies. Our scientists are already working on countermeasures." This was how humanity fought back, not with overwhelming force, but with clever strikes and stolen technology. The Varaxians had superior ships and weapons, but humans had something the aliens couldn't understand: adaptability. In a research lab across the complex, Dr. Sujin Kang injected nanites into a volunteer soldier's bloodstream. The tiny machines, reverse-engineered from captured Varaxian medical technology, would enhance the soldier's strength and healing ability. "How does it feel?" she asked as the soldier flexed his arm. "Like fire in my veins, then." "Power," he answered. "How long? Until we can deploy this to all troops?" 1 month if we're lucky," Sujin said. "The Varaxians never imagined we could adapt their medical tech for combat. They use it only for healing." On the battlefield, the differences between human and Varaxian tactics were clear. The aliens attacked in precise formations with overwhelming force. When they met resistance, they retreated and regrouped. They never expected humans to keep fighting when outgunned, to sacrifice themselves in suicide missions, or to use the bodies of their fallen comrades as traps. Captain Dae-ho Kim, now commanding a stealth strike vessel, led a small fleet of 10 ships toward Jupiter. After surviving the first attack 6 months ago, he had become one of Earth's most effective commanders. "Remember," he told his crew, "the Varaxians evolved from herd animals. They expect us to behave like them, to run when threatened, to follow predictable patterns. We won't." His plan was simple but effective. The human ships would appear to retreat, drawing the larger Varaxian cruisers into Jupiter's radiation belt. There, specially modified human fighters would emerge from hiding within the radiation and attack from behind. "They're following," reported Lieutenant Jin Park, who had stayed by Daeho's side throughout the war. "All 5 cruisers." The battle lasted just 40 minutes. By the end, 3 Varaxian cruisers had been captured largely intact, the biggest prize of the war so far. Back on Earth, President Lee addressed the United Nations from an underground bunker. The mood was no longer one of desperation, but of fierce determination. 6 months ago, the Varaxians thought we would surrender after their first attacks, she said. 3 months ago, they offered terms. Earth would be spared if we accepted. Containment within our solar system forever. We refused. Yesterday, we destroyed or captured 8 of their ships near Jupiter. Today, I am announcing Project Nightshade. The classified project would combine captured alien technology with humanity's unique understanding of guerrilla warfare. Soldiers with enhanced bodies and reflexes, ships with hybrid technology, and weapons the Varaxians had never imagined. The Galactic Council chambers. The Varaxian ambassador faced growing criticism. "Your simple containment operation has turned into a prolonged conflict," the Tamir representative noted. "And now reports suggest humans have captured your ships and weapons." "Impossible." chittered the Varaxian. "They are primitives. They will break soon." But doubt had entered the council. Reports from the front lines described humans fighting in ways no civilized species would consider. They kept fighting when logically they should surrender. They sacrificed themselves to save others. They used their understanding of their own solar system in ways the Varaxians hadn't predicted. In her lab, Dr. Su Jin examined tissue samples from a captured Varaxian. "Their nervous system is designed to prioritize flight over fight," she explained to General Mi Young. "When threatened beyond a certain threshold, they physically cannot continue fighting. Their bodies force them to retreat." "No wonder they can't understand us," Mi Young replied. "Humans never reach that threshold. We keep fighting even when it seems hopeless." As the first year of war came to an end, the Varaxians faced an uncomfortable truth. They had severely underestimated humanity. What they had dismissed as a primitive species was proving to be something the galaxy hadn't seen before. A true, apex predator that refused to accept defeat. The tide of war was about to turn. How humanity's war proved. They're the galaxy's ultimate apex predator commander, Hyun-Woo Park, crouched in the shadows of the massive Varaxian space station. His team, of 6, the first graduates of Project Nightshade, had infiltrated the enemy's forward command base near the ruins of Mars Colony. Each soldier had been enhanced with reverse-engineered alien technology. Their muscles were denser, reflexes faster, and their eyes could see spectrums of light invisible to normal humans. "Team in position," whispered Sergeant Yuna Cho through their neural comm system, another adaptation of stolen Varaxian tech. "Begin Phase 1, Hyun-Woo ordered. The mission was unlike anything attempted in the 2 years since the war began. While the Varaxians expected frontal assaults with ships and weapons, they never considered that humans might infiltrate their command centers directly. No species in the Council would attempt something so dangerous. Hyun-Woo watched as Yuna silently approached a Varaxian guard from behind. The alien never sensed her presence until her vibroblade, a human invention using Varaxian power cells, sliced through its exoskeleton. The guard died without making a sound. "Security systems bypassed," reported Technician J. Kim through the comm. His fingers, enhanced with neural interfaces, worked directly with the alien computer systems. "I'm in their network. Phase 1 complete." Now came the dangerous part. The team moved deeper into the station, toward the central command hub. According to intelligence, the station contained the strategic plans for the next Varaxian offensive, and possibly the location of their primary fleet staging area. "Contact," warned Corporal Min Lee. 3 guards approaching from Corridor 7. Instead of hiding, Hyun-Woo stepped directly into the alien's path. The Varaxians froze in shock. A human inside their secure station? Their momentary hesitation was all the Nightshade team needed. Before the aliens could raise their weapons, the humans struck with unnatural speed. Varaxians think in groups, Dr. Su Jin had explained during their training. They can't process unexpected threats as quickly as humans can. Use that. In the command hub, Jay connected directly to the main computer while the team secured the room. "I've found something," he said, his voice tense with excitement. "It's not just battle plans, it's their assessment of humanity." On the large display, Varaxian text appeared alongside human translations. Threat assessment, humans classification, apex predator species, class 1. Warning, exhibits pack hunting behaviors combined with individual initiative containment. Priority, maximum. "They're afraid of us," Yuna said, surprise evident in her voice. "Download everything," Hyun-Woo ordered. "We need to get this back to Earth." As Jay worked, Hyun-Woo studied other files. Images of Earth's history flashed on screens. Humans hunting in prehistoric times, ancient battles, modern warfare. The Varaxians had been studying humanity closely, categorizing them unlike any other known species. "Download complete," Jay announced. "But they've detected the data breach. We have 10 minutes before system lockdown. The escape would be harder than the infiltration." Alarms blared as the team fought their way to the hangar bay. Unlike the careful stealth of their entry, now they moved with brutal efficiency, using their enhanced strength and speed to overwhelm the Varaxian defenders. They're not used to fighting like this, Hyunwoo realized as he watched a group of Varaxians retreat from a single human soldier. They expect us to follow their rules of engagement. In the hangar, they stole a Varaxian shuttle. Jay's neural interface allowed him to control the alien vessel as they blasted out into space. Behind them, the station's weapons fired too late. Activating the package, Yuna said, referring to the virus they had planted in the station's systems. Across the command center they had just left, critical systems began to fail. The virus, a hybrid of human and Varaxian code, would spread throughout their network, disrupting communications for weeks. 3 days later, in the underground war, room on Earth, General Mi-young Choi reviewed the stolen data with President Lee. The Varaxians have been lying to the Council, Mi-young explained. They classified us as an apex predator species before first contact. That's why they attacked. They feared our potential. Can we use this? The President asked. We already are, Mi-young smiled. We've transmitted proof of their deception to neutral Council members, but more importantly, we now understand their fear. They evolved as prey animals. Their entire society is built around defense and security. They cannot comprehend a species that actively seeks challenge and thrives under pressure. The success of Operation Nightshade marked the turning point of the war. Within months, human forces using stolen technology and understanding of Varaxian psychology began to reclaim lost territory. The aliens, facing an enemy they fundamentally could not understand, began to retreat. Humanity, the unexpected predator in a galaxy of prey, was just getting started. How humanity's war proved. There, the galaxy's ultimate apex predator, Dr. Hajun. Lee stood before the Earth Alliance Council in the deep underground chambers beneath New Geneva. 3 years into the war with the Varaxians, the tide had turned dramatically. Humanity had not only stopped the alien advance but had begun pushing them back across the solar system. Now, as the Council prepared for the first diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council itself, Hajun's research had revealed something extraordinary. Members of the Council, what I'm about to share changes everything we understood about our place in the galaxy, Hajun began. His team had spent months analyzing the complete biological and historical records stolen during Operation Nightshade. President Min stood at the head of the table. She had led Earth through its darkest days and now presided over what might be its greatest revelation. Proceed, Doctor. Hajun activated the holographic display. Images of various alien species filled the air around them. The tall blue-skinned Tamir, the insectoid Varaxians, and a dozen other council races. Of the 27 species in the United Galactic Council, 24 evolved from what we would classify as prey animals, Hajun explained. Herd creatures, foragers, creatures that survived by hiding or fleeing from predators. The images shifted, showing evolutionary trees and biological classifications. Only 3 species evolved from predators, he continued. And of those 3, only humans developed as what xenobiologists call persistence predators, hunters who pursue prey to exhaustion rather than relying on ambush or overwhelming force. Ambassador Sumin Kang, who would lead the diplomatic mission, leaned forward. This explains so much about their tactics and social structures. Exactly, Hajun agreed. The Varaxians, like most council species, evolved running from danger. Their entire civilization is built around security and defense. When they encounter a threat, their instinct is to eliminate it completely or retreat to safety. They cannot comprehend a species that actively seeks challenge, that becomes more determined when facing obstacles. General Mi-young Choi, now commander of all Earth forces, nodded. This is why our guerrilla tactics work so well. They expect us to behave logically, to surrender when outgunned or retreat when threatened. When we don't, it terrifies them. Hajun displayed more data. There's something else. The complete files from Nightshade reveal that the Varaxians have been monitoring Earth for over 50 years. Their attack wasn't a response to first contact. It was planned. The room fell silent. Their predictive models showed that humans would Advanced to full galactic status within 3 centuries, Hajun continued. Given our predatory nature and adaptability, they calculated a 78% probability that humans would eventually dominate the Council. The war was preventative, an attempt to contain us before we could reach our potential. President Min studied the data with narrowed eyes. They feared us before they even met us. With good reason, Hajun said quietly. Look at our history. In less than 10,000 years, we advanced from stone tools to space travel. In just 3 years of war, we've adapted alien technology that took other species centuries to develop. No other species learns as quickly or adapts as readily as humans do. Ambassador Sumin stood and walked to the display. So when I address the Galactic Council, I'm speaking to a room full of prey animals who see us as the galaxy's most dangerous predator. Yes, Hajun confirmed. But that's our advantage. They don't understand us, but we now understand them. The Varaxians attacked because they feared what we might become. The other council races are watching to see if those fears are justified. Captain Daeho Kim, invited to the meeting as the hero of Jupiter, spoke for the first time. So we need to show them that we can be predators without being monsters. Precisely, Hajun said. Humans have something rare in the galaxy. We can be both, predator and protector. We hunt, but we also defend. We compete, but we also cooperate. Our evolutionary history as tribal hunters gave us both aggression and empathy. As the meeting continued, plans formed for humanity's first true diplomatic mission to the stars. They would go not as supplicants begging for peace, but as equals, demanding recognition. The data from Operation Nightshade would be their evidence, proving the Varaxian deception and humanity's right to exist freely. That night, as Ambassador Sumin prepared for her mission, she met with Hajun one last time. Will they ever truly accept us, she asked. If they see us as predators? They'll fear us, Hajun admitted, but fear can become respect. The Tamir have already reached out secretly, suggesting an alliance. They recognize that a predator can also be a powerful protector. As humanity prepared to take its place among the stars, they carried with them a new understanding of themselves, not just as another intelligent species, but as something rare and powerful. In a galaxy of prey, they were the apex predator, and now everyone would know it. How humanity's war proved. There, the galaxy's ultimate apex predator, Ambassador Sumin Kang, stood tall as she entered the great chamber of the United Galactic Council. The massive hall, with its soaring crystal dome and thousands of delegates, fell silent as the human delegation walked in. 5 years after the first Varaxian attack on Mars, humanity had earned this moment. Representatives of the Council, Sumin began, her voice carrying throughout the chamber. I come before you not to beg for peace, but to establish it. Behind her stood Captain Daeho Kim, now wearing the insignia of Fleet Admiral, and Dr. Hajun Lee, whose research had changed the course of the war. Together they represented humanity's strength and wisdom. The Tamir representative, a tall blue-skinned being named Zolith, spoke first. The Council recognizes Earth and welcomes its representatives. The evidence presented against the Varaxian Empire has been reviewed and found valid. The Varaxian delegation chittered angrily but remained in their seats. Their once mighty empire had been reduced to a third of its former size after human forces pushed them back system by system. Their deception had been exposed to the entire Council, how they had planned the war long before first contact, how they had manipulated Council politics out of fear of humanity's potential. For 5 years we fought to defend ourselves, Sumin continued. Now we seek recognition as equals and justice for the 12 million humans who died in an unprovoked attack. The Council chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. Many species still feared humans, seeing in them the ancient predators that had once hunted their evolutionary ancestors. Others saw opportunity in alliance with such a powerful species. The head of the Council, an ancient being from the Mori species, who had led galactic politics for centuries, raised his withered hand for silence. Humanity has proven itself both fearsome in war and, if your words are true, capable of restraint in victory, the elder said. The Council proposes full membership for Earth with reparations from the Varaxian Empire, and a formal classification of humans as a Class 1 apex species, with all rights and restrictions that entails. Sumin had been well briefed on the classification system. Class 1 meant humanity would be recognized as one of the galaxy's dominant predator species, a designation that brought both respect and careful monitoring. "We accept these terms," she replied, "with one condition. Earth will establish a protection zone for developing worlds in our sector. No species should face what we faced, extinction for their potential." This was the masterstroke of human diplomacy. By positioning themselves as protectors rather than conquerors, humanity would gain allies while channeling their predatory instincts into a cause the Council could support. 3 months later, as the formal treaty was signed, the galaxy entered a new era. Human ships began patrolling trade routes once dominated by the Varaxians. Earth technologies, the hybrid innovations created during the war, spread throughout Council space, revolutionizing everything from medicine to transportation. On the newly established Earth Embassy on the Council homeworld, Sumin met with Admiral Deho in the garden, built to resemble Earth's ecosystems. Children from a dozen species played together under the watchful eyes of their parents. "They still fear us," Deho observed as a group of Tamir parents guided their children away from a human child who had played too roughly. "Yes," Sumin agreed. "But fear can become respect, and eventually, understanding." A young Varaxian child separated from its group stumbled near them. Instead of retreating, Deho knelt and gently helped the child up. The Varaxian parent froze, instincts screaming danger, but then relaxed as the human showed kindness instead of aggression. "That is our true power," Sumin said. "Not that we can fight better than any species in the galaxy, but that we can choose when not to fight. We are predators who can show mercy, warriors who can create peace." As Earth's influence spread throughout the galaxy, other species began to see what made humans truly dangerous. Not just their predatory instincts, but their boundless creativity and adaptability. In a galaxy where most species had evolved specialized for specific roles and environments, humans were the ultimate generalists. They could thrive anywhere, adapt to any challenge, and turn adversity into advantage. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had entered the stars as victims, fought back as warriors, and now emerged as leaders. The apex predator had taken its place in the natural order, and the universe held its breath to see what they would become. From the observation deck of the massive human flagship Guardian, President Min looked out at the stars with Hajun beside her. "Do you think we'll ever truly belong here?" she asked. Hajun smiled. "We already do. The galaxy just needed to make room for something it had never seen before, a predator with a conscience."